Good morning, you guys. I don't want to bore you with all the detail, but these are the HIDs I'm putting in. Kensun. I hope I pronounced that correctly. About 70 bucks, I believe. Maybe a hair less. This is a 2014 Kia Soul. This is the HID light itself. My particular Kia Soul comes with a cover on the outside. I had to drill a 1-inch hole here, and there was still a lip, like this round lip here, there was still a lip inside here. So I used a Dremel tool, made a little spacing, and flattened it out so the grommet would fit nicely in there. I think you guys can see that's a adequate fitting on the grommet there. I have to do the same thing on the other side. I had to take off 12 millimeter in the back and two 10 millimeters in the front, and the light actually pulls forward a little bit, so you got to be careful with that. There's a slight tug maybe on this corner, and then the second corner over there, and you'll feel the whole thing will give. You got some wires connected, so you don't want to pull anything forward. You just want to break it loose, break it free, and then you can start doing your work. On my particular vehicle, I need an adapter. I hope to put this in the description, the name of the adapter. I got it from Amazon. I got 2 sets in case I screw one up. This is to hold the HID. Let's see, this is the bulb itself. Great, I got to take the whole thing apart to get this out, or I got to break it out. Either way, the wiring goes in there like this, and then this holds the bulb in place, excuse me, like that. And then this is the piece that actually locks in with the old factory piece locked in, so that's how it holds the bulb in place with this adapter. Without this adapter, this job is not getting done. Okay, so I'll put it in the description and hopefully a link to it when I do the video. Okay, so you need the adapter. You're gonna get whatever HID you are using. This is 5000K. I'm thinking you guys can see that over there. You can get slightly lower. It's gonna be slightly more yellowish. The higher the number, the more bluish to purple it can turn. I do not recommend anything over 6000K. It looks blue at night. In daytime, it may look like proper color, but at night it'll look bluish. 5000K is a trade-off. At night it looks only slightly blue, and daytime it looks a bit yellowish. Only slightly yellowish, excuse me. So it's a combination, and it's a give and take. I prefer the 5000K over anything else. 4300 is not bad also, if you can find those, but that's up to you. If you want a slightly more bluish color, then a little higher than 5. If you want a more normal mix, the 5000Ks are really good, between 4300 and 5000K. That's what I recommend. Alright, so I did use a hole saw here, 1-inch, and then had to use a Dremel tool to flatten it out so the grommet would fit correctly. If I didn't flatten it out, the grommet would not fit correctly. Okay, let's take this off, put this on here till I get ready to install it. There is a trick to installing. The light there goes in a certain way and it twists in place, so you gotta take your time and do that. I suggest removing the lens because it's easier to do, especially on the driver's side. Forget it. There's a fuse box there that's a little tight. If you don't remove it, you're gonna have a difficult time getting it done. I'm gonna pause the video. I'm going to install one side, and then I'm gonna take a slight video of what it looks like, the difference between these high power Sylvanias bulbs, which are closer to daylight. They're 4100, I believe, but they look yellowish in the day, and they don't look daytime color at night. They still look a little bit yellowish, so I'm not necessarily happy with these. The output is not as good for my older eyes, so that's why I'm doing all this stuff. Okay, let's pause the video now. Okay, you guys, this is a little comparison. These are the Sylvania, I believe, Ultra. I don't remember. They cost me like, they were overpriced in the store, auto parts store, probably about 50 bucks. I could have got them online for $30 or something like that. They're supposed to be brighter than per se a standard bulb, about 50% brighter, if I remember that correctly. So if you look for Sylvania 50% brighter bulb, 4100K, that's this bulb right here. Okay, the one right here. On the other side, you guys see the HID. I'm looking at my little flip screen on my G7 and Panasonic, I believe G7 or J7, and I can see some zebras with the Sylvania, but with the HID I see more than double zebras, which means it's that much blown out. it's that much brighter. It's full daylight out right now. There's no clouds. I am in the shaded wall, so this is what you're looking at. It is on auto. I didn't set any manual exposure, so the camera's pretty much doing this thing the best as can. I did have an issue installing the bulbs. The adapter that I showed in part 1 didn't quite fit right. It kept popping out on me. I wind up having to use a little electrical tape on the ends for the HID bulb, and I got it to slide in there just right. Measured out about the same size, maybe a hair difference, but it did take some work to get that to work. Electrical tape, 2 little pieces of electrical tape on the sides where the tab was, and the opposite side was what got it to work. Alright, now we go to do the other side. Okay, this is what the cover looks like after drilling a hole dead center. Now I'm going to shave it down and I'll show you what it looks like before I install it. Okay, I'm going to use a Dremel tool. Okay, different setup here to get the socket through and get the grommet in place. Just give me a second and I'll record the grommet in place. Okay, there it is, the grommet in place. I went a little too far on the side holes. Maybe you could do a little bit less, but it's adequate enough to do the install now. Okay, I'm do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to tape this end here, right here, and I'm going to tape the other side with a little bit of tape on the adapter. Let's do that again. Tape right here on this side where the little nub is at, and the opposite side with a little bit of tape to hold it on the adapter, and it should go into place in the lens a lot easier and stay in place like the other side. So I was having a lot of trouble without the tape. Okay, you guys, there's a front tool of the HIDs installed. I did have some difficulty, and I'll explain that again. But you can see the serious color difference between the HIDs and the bottom fog lights. Those are traditional bulbs in the bottom. I do have some that are not quite as yellow. Some regular bulbs I might install in there. But for now, at least you can see how impressive the HIDs look. Ideally, it would be really nice to put a set of HIDs in the bottom. I'm going to look into that because they do make them. And I'm going to pause the video, get into the final part of the install, show you both sides, and see what you guys think. I know you could do better. I had a difficult time. Anyway, let's pause the video and move the camera. Okay, this next bit is freehand. You guys can see the cover that goes back on the back of the lens. You can see the grommet coming out of there. They were a real pain in the ass. The little adapters I had to use some tape on the side. I think I showed you guys that. They're in now. They're in tight. So I'm going to come loose. We're going to move around a little bit. I apologize about the movement. I'm doing this freehand because I can't get the tripod to quite get in place right. You'll see just a couple of zip ties and a few screws on that side. Wasn't the biggest deal. You guys can do a lot better. You might put that ballast sideways instead of slightly angled the way I got it right there. Okay, let's go over to the other side. The other side posed a different challenge. Okay, so that is the air box that's mounted on. And I think you guys can see that it moves. It vibrates a lot. So if I put something in between the battery here, I might get less vibration. So we'll see. I've been running the vehicle now for about, I'm going to say 15 minutes at least. And I can touch the battery. She's pretty hot. About 115 degrees. I do a lot of plumbing, hot water tank stuff. So I got a little sensation. Not quite 120. I think I would have more trouble touching it if it was 120 degrees. Okay, let's see if I can show you some of the wiring in there. It's just hanging down there, zip tied together. It's pretty neat. It's not moving that much. There's the back of the other side with the grommet there. So you guys can see that. This is definitely a worthwhile install. You guys saw the color of the lights, how even they are. Kensun, K-E-N-S-U-N, Kensun, excuse me, did a really good job putting this kit together. These are 55 watt. They actually say it somewhere on the ballast. It says 55 watt. I believe it's supposed to use 55 watt ballast with 55 watt bulbs. You can get away with 35 watt bulbs, but I understand the lifespan will be lessened. Probably similar with the ballast, I'm not sure. Okay, I didn't have to put a relay in here. If I did, that would be an issue. Another thing you guys want to take a look at, since we're already here, is I'm using daytime running lights, and they talk about that. And you can see how the difference in the color according to what angle I'm at. Okay, but these daytime running lights are not interfering with the HIDs. I think that this is just bulbs. I don't think they're LEDs. So something to definitely look out for. On the airbox, I did something a little bit different. So let's see if I can get in here. You guys can get a better look. I took the airbox off, so when I drill through the box, I don't get any particles in the air filter, nothing like that, or going inside the motor. Don't want that. I'm sure it'll eat up a little bit of plastic, but it's not a good idea. The less you got in the motor, the better. There's a couple of little red things I get from Plumbing Supply. They're about 1/8 of an inch, and it's to have some airway there, so the box doesn't get so hot. The ballast doesn't melt into it, stuff like that. I'm still touching it, and she's pretty hot. She's at least 115. She's getting closer to 120 now. The hood's been open, so if the hood down, it was summertime, she'll probably get up to 150. So we have to see how this does. But if you're gonna do the same thing I did, you're probably going to want to make sure you got some air there. I hope you can see I put some silicone there, just so I don't get any water sucked in there, nothing like that. Okay? A little bit on the other side also. I cleaned it up a bit, so it's kind of hard to see where the silicone is, but I did shove it in there with my finger. Okay? End the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to make it as short as possible without being, short as possible without being too long. See you guys in the next one. Bye.